Previously on Libel the Bible.
I tried to determine the steps we need to take to recreate a calm and docile Rusty.
Scott's continued obsession with DeSantis' name.
I appreciate Samuel as a man of the people.
His kids don't be appreciating shit, though.
The Israelites are sick of being judged and ask for a king.
God recruits Saul for his good looks.
And now, episode 75 of Libel the Bible.
All right, well, you may as well say your catchphrase, Scott.
All right, hey, this is Scott, head of logistic gymnastics.
And this is Rusty, head of losing files. And this is Libel the Bible, take 2.
Episode 75. This is kind of like it's a milestone episode, right? 75 is considered like there's like a gemstone associated with 75th anniversary.
I think
right?
it's silver, 75.
Yeah,
50's
whatever.
gold, 75. No, 25. Maybe it's platinum. 75 might be platinum.
Shit, platinum's more than gold, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Only in Dungeons
What's
and Dragons.
diamond?
Like, what the fuck is platinum?
The Queen had like a diamond jubilee, didn't she? 75 might be diamond. I don't fucking know.
The Queen had a bunch of blood diamonds.
You know what
I
the
bet.
problem is, Scott? You get me like wrapped up in like minutia. Like you ask these questions and then I like entertain them for whatever against my better judgment. I always entertain your questions, and then it just leads us to nowhere.
Yo, who was the famous late night?
See,
fucking
it's
host?
starting already.
Johnny Carson,
Joan Rivers.
No. yeah.
Gary Shandling.
Arsenio Hall. Yeah. Did Gary Shandling actually have
Chevy
a real?
Chase.
Did Gary Shandling have a real show or like a fake like reality show?
Gary Shandling had a guest host spot when Johnny Carson used to go on vacation. Gary Shandling would sit in every so often. So did Joan Rivers. And then Gary Shandling wound up getting a show on HBO where he played a Johnny Carson type
Gotcha.
called the Larry Sanders
Ed
Show.
McMahon. That's who I'm thinking about. So going forward,
Heyo.
so he did that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fucking cultural appropriation of some Native American shit right there.
Yeah.
Did he go, ayo?
No, he didn't go, hiya.
So you want me to be Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson? Like, I'll just sit here like a fucking lump? I'll be Andy Richter to your
I'm saying
Conan
is,
O'Brien?
All I'm saying is I'm starting to understand why bands break up. Like, I kind of get Roger Waters and why after like 10 years he was like, you know what, man? Like, I got to get rid of these guys and just like go out on my own.
Right. So Roger Waters, like yourself, said, you know, my partners aren't as anti-Semitic as I am, so let me fucking get rid of these racist assholes.
Yes, that's what happened.
These not racist ass. Yeah, you know what I mean, man.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm Andy Richter.
Yeah, the point is, we recorded episode 75 already. And I botched it, Scott. I botched the whole recording. But Scott thinks like it's kind of serendipitous because he almost wanted me to botch it to begin with. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy is what it is.
Oh, so what are you saying?
I'm blaming you.
You're blaming me.
So when we recorded episode 75, we recorded on my MacBook. I brought over the MacBook. I forgot to bring the power cord. Remember this?
I remember.
So it started with that. So we made the recording. We spent like, whatever it was, an hour and a half, blah, blah, blah. By the time I left, the MacBook had shut down.
Right.
And we thought it's very possible that the recording's gone.
Yep.
I came home. I plugged in my MacBook. It charged up. I powered it on. And I was able to recover the file.
May I?
Go ahead.
And when Rusty told me, like texted me, hey, we recovered the file, I was like, you know what? Part of me didn't want you to because it was a really low energy recording.
Yeah.
I didn't bring a good game.
You did not bring a good game that day.
Okay, I said it. You didn't have to fucking reinforce it.
Well, don't you want me to agree with you?
No, you just said, no, Scott, it's all right. It was okay. Like something. Like
you want me to blow smoke up your ass?
Yeah, somebody has to.
Did you bullshit last week? So what happened was the next day I woke up and I immediately processed the episode. Like I did everything I had to do. I prepared it for like upload. Like I did like the previously on music, the Patreon ad, the intro music. I set it all up. I saved it as the final like edit. And then I didn't upload it because I was waiting to come up with like a name and I wanted to listen to it first. So like I wanted to listen to the episode.
We don't produce shit.
The problem is what happened after I did that was I started downloading our first 10 episodes because I remastered our first 10 episodes. So I downloaded our first 10 episodes and then I reprocessed them. In the process of doing that, my MacBook told me I had very low storage, like super low. Like it was less than 1 gig.
What?
So I had to start deleting things. And I had a whole bunch of folders with our old episodes. There were like, I don't know, I had like 15 gigs of like old episodes. So I started deleting those folders. This morning, I woke up to go and upload episode 75.
Woke up this morning.
Got myself good.
There you go. Yeah.
And it was not there. And at that point, I had realized I must have deleted the episode 75 folder along with all the other folders that I had deleted. And so here we are on release day doing a recording of another version of episode 75. Yeah. So all this is to say that, one, thank you. You're welcome, Scott, for, re-recording it. And two, like, our audience should appreciate the things that we do for them, despite the fact that we're a top 10 global podcast, top 10%. We're in the top 10% of listened to podcasts worldwide.
Wait a minute. So that means, like, you, with that kind of status, like, you've probably been raking in money and you're not telling me about it?
No, I'm not raking in money. That's the problem, Scott. I'm not raking in money.
But you said we're top 10%?
Yes. Well, you know what you have to do, Scott. What do you have to do?
You have to be like top 1%,
the
right?
top 1%. Not even top 1%. The 0.1%.
Wow.
If you're the 0.1% of
now, what I want people to understand is when you sent me that message this morning, I was in Atlantic City.
What message this morning?
That, I fucked up. I'm not worthy. You should find a different podcast partner. I'm not getting it done.
You're talking about the fact that we have to re-record episode 75, right?
Yeah, when you told me.
Okay, because people don't know what you're talking about. They might think we're talking about top 10% podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you sent me the text message this morning about the lost files.
Right.
Understand, I was like buried in a fucking bottle of Jack at a fucking slot machine in Atlantic City, man. And I had to figure out how the fuck do I make it back here to fix this problem.
So you raced home. Raced home.
I'm 3 hours
as
from
fast
AC.
as you can, drunk, on tequila, to record this bullshit.
Technically,
that sounds irresponsible.
I was drinking Manhattans, man. I was on Maker's Mark
sorry.
Manhattans.
You were drinking whiskey. My bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we are, Scott. Here we are.
Then
We're 7 minutes into episode 75. Is it going better than the first 7 minutes of the first episode?
You know what? I'm not sure, but based on the way I remembered feeling last week, yeah, I think it's going better already. This is more interesting than anything I was talking about a week ago.
And there's nothing more important than how Scott is feeling.
Oh, I think my feelings kind of fucking like show in the quality of the podcast, man.
Well, what do you want to talk about, Scott? Do you want to talk about things today?
I do, actually.
You have things to talk about.
I got things to. I don't need to talk about like how crazy my last 4 days have been logistically. I've been in different states. I've been driving people from airports. It's been crazy. But you know what I want to talk about? Something much simpler. No. And I think we've talked about this before, but not to this level. Pizza. Can I talk about pizza for a second?
Absolutely, Scott.
Yo, man.
It's interesting that you wanted to talk about pizza. I hadn't thought about pizza today. Go ahead.
Oh, all right, good. So maybe, all right, serendipitously, you'll be able to fucking add to this.
Stop stealing my words.
So, but you see how I butchered it, man? Like, that wasn't really English. I know.
That's because your teeth are trying to swallow your lips.
Yo, I ain't punchy. This is just the way I talk.
I know.
So now, last week, or a couple of days ago, or the day before I went down to Atlantic City, I had to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, doing a bunch of shit I didn't eat all fucking day. So by the time I'm heading home and like doing my shit, I had to pick people up from the airport, whatever. I was like, let me stop at the local pizzeria.
Whoa. The local what?
Pizzeria.
Pizzeria?
Pizzeria.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Go ahead.
So the local pizzeria has traditionally sucked. It was really good 15 years ago. The guy got old. The pizza got sucky. So much for the fact that he went out of business. New person took over. The pizza was good for like a week.
Which neighborhood is this?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to fucking single anybody out.
Okay.
Because this applies to any neighborhood pizzeria.
Go ahead.
Right? So they're on the third owner. And the pizza's been pretty fucking good, man. But I go to a different neighborhood a week ago, and I get some pizza, and the pizza sucks. So I come back to my neighborhood pizzeria, right? And I walk in. I was like, yo, let me get 3 regular slices to go, because I'm a gavone. I eat 3 slices, right? And he takes his pie out of the oven, and it looks majestic. It looks so fucking good. I was like, yo, all right, those are my slices. Let me get 3 of those. He's like, no, somebody ordered a whole pie. Then he goes to the counter. You know that pie that's been sitting there all fucking day?
Yeah.
And they take out the fucking, what do you call it, the pizza cutter, the dough cutter? And he puts it in the pie to cut my 3 slices, and it's like it threw a wood chipper. The crust, yeah, exactly. Your pizza should not have sound.
I disagree with that, but okay.
To this level.
It shouldn't be cold. That's...
He cuts it. It should never get that cold.
Go ahead.
He cuts it, and then he puts 3 slices in the oven. And I go, whoa, did I just see this? And I go, yo, buddy, could you open up the oven door? Excuse me? And you know me, I'm not assertive. I don't send pizza back.
So before we go any further, the discussion isn't even really about pizza. It's about like just customer service in general.
We're going to get to that. Yes, we're going to get to that. That's what it comes down to. Yes, that is
so
the
it's not
bottom line.
about pizza.
But it happened in the pizzeria, all right? So listen to me.
The pizzeria.
So open the fucking door. Let me see that.
Gavone.
Right? Yo, the fucking
You're not a gavone. You're a fucking strunz. Go ahead.
So I see my 3 slices inside the oven. I go, are those my slices? He goes, yeah. I go, yo, you see the crust, dude? He goes, yeah. I go, it's black. It's burnt already. Like you put burnt pizza in the pizza oven.
Is that how you're saying it? With that
probably,
kind of a tone?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
My tone wasn't, maybe not professional, maybe not fucking cool, but I was fucking aggravated.
Why are you justifying it? All I asked was that your tone?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was my tone.
Go ahead. I'll judge at the end.
So he goes, what? I go, yo, man, this shit's all burnt already. And he goes, he looks right at me and goes, but I got to heat it up for you. I go, and what? Make it more burnt? What are you doing? And he looks at me and goes, hey, what do you want me to do? And I looked at him, I was like, I want you to go fuck yourself with your pizza. And I walked out. I didn't really say it. I was like, go fuck your pizza more. Not so much him, but your pizza can go fuck itself. Not so much him. And I fucking walked out, which is something I've never done before.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole fucking restaurant turned to me and was like, oh, what the fuck's this dude's problem? I'm like, but you're serving garbage.
Why couldn't you just say, can I just have 3 fresh slices off the next pie?
Okay, so again, of course it's going to turn around to what did I do wrong. But the bottom line is, you have one fucking job. I got to tell you, pizza people, there's like 4 fucking ingredients. It's been made for 150 fucking years. I should not, as a customer, have to tell you how to provide good product. No, dude, I'm fucking sick of it, man.
You know I like coffee.
Coffee?
Every time I walk into a place to have coffee, it's the same conversation every time. There's nothing simpler in the world than coffee. Yeah. It's beans. You grind the beans. You put the beans into a filter, and then you pour water through the filter, and you heat it up, and you get coffee. So that's how I drink it. I drink black coffee. So when I order coffee, I order, can I please have a medium coffee? Mm-hmm. Okay? Do you want milk in that? If I wanted milk in that, I would have said, can I have a coffee with milk? Sugar? If I wanted that. So now what I am forced to say every time is, can I have a medium coffee, no milk, no sugar? See, I am now adding things. I am now adding things because I know ahead of time that even though I shouldn't have to say anything, same thing with bagels, by the way. Anyone who lives in New York, who goes to an actual bagel shop, knows you don't toast the bagel. You toast a shit bagel. You know, if you get like one of those Thomas's English muffin bagels from the supermarket, you know, that's what you fucking toast. If you live in bumfuck wherever the fuck our patrons live.
Because she's just
old
old and fucking crud.
Yeehaw! I got me a bagel. I'm gonna toast it. Woo! Boom, 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 boom. You know,
America.
firing off their 6 shooters. Right.
Shooters.
Well, in New York City, you don't toast the bagel because the bagels are coming out of the oven. They're handmade. They're fresh.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to toast it, right? So every goddamn time I get, you know, bacon, egg, and cheese or whatever, you want it toasted?
Word.
If I wanted it fucking toasted, I would have fucking asked for it toasted, you know? So I have to do all of this extra shit, you know what I mean? So my suggestion to you would be, next time you're in a pizzeria, just say, can I please have I'll wait for a new pie. Can I have 3 fresh slices?
I'm going to tell you what, you're not wrong with what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you the important difference. Your bagel is fresh. They're asking you, do you want me to make it shitty?
Right.
Whereas I shouldn't have to say to the pizzeria guy, can I have pizza that's not shitty?
But he's got 3 slices he's got to get rid of.
Yo, man.
So he's trying to get rid of them. So it's your job to say, I'll wait for a new pie. That's
okay.
all.
So when he pulled out the new pie and gave those, I was like, yo, those
But
my
that
slices,
was a pie
awesome.
that he was making that for an
That's
order
fair enough.
already.
So that's the hint saying, I want pie slices like that. I want good slices. And then when he put the shit slices in and I called him out on it, his answer should have been, well, I have to heat it up for you after I point out they were burnt. And then his second question shouldn't have been, what do you want me to do? Like, not give me shit.
Yeah.
So listen, you can make this my point, like it's my fault, but yo, most pizzerias are fucking obviously money laundering operations that sell to kids and children.
It's not your fault, and it's not his fault. It's the two of you together refusing to cross the divide and work with one another.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Secretly, I don't think it's fair enough. Provide good product and provide good service.
My point.
You should have known. You should have known after my second inquiry that I ain't to be trifled with, motherfucker. Give me a good product.
My thoughts on pizzerias had nothing to do with rage and anger and customer service. I was thinking about actual pizza in New York City. How when we grew up in New York, when we were little kids, late 70s, early 80s, even going into like high school, mid 80s, you could throw a rock and hit a good pizzeria.
Yeah, word, yeah.
And now,
it's not that fucking hard.
New York City pizza is the most overrated pizza, and New York City pizza is no longer pizza. So when I say pizza, it's like coffee. When I say pizza, right, I'm not talking about a slice with oxtail fucking on it. You know what I mean?
Pineapple.
Or like some brick oven, like, forget pineapple. Some brick oven, like, fucking thing with, like, you know, prosciutto. And yes, those are all forms of pizza, I guess. Mm-hmm. When I talk pizza, right, when we talk about New York City pizza, we're talking about the slice.
Word.
It's a Neapolitan pie, the round Neapolitan pie with just sauce and cheese, right? Dough, sauce, cheese. That's a Neapolitan pie. We do not have a lot of good Neapolitan slices anymore in this city. And I understand the Italians who originally made the pizza in New York, their kids did not go into the pizza business because their parents worked their ass off making pizza so that they could send their kids to like school, to have like a better education, so they could afford to buy Sergio Tacchini fucking tracksuits for their kids. You know what I mean?
No.
so they can buy them from 1986 Grand Prix in Monte Carlos to drive around in
What about
and
the
tint up
IROC?
their windows.
The IROC?
Right. And be like racist towards black people, even though like they fucking, you know, did everything, like copied everything from like the black culture. So, you know, it's understandable how, you know, pizzerias are no longer what they used to be. So I was thinking about that, how you can't have a conversation about New York pizza anymore without defining what do you consider a New York slice. Because periodically I run across like a vlog, my top 5 pizzerias in New York City, you know, and it's always like some transplant, you know, who's been living here for 10 years and they think like they understand what New York pizza is.
And you're anti-trans.
And then I watch them eat the pizza and it's like, that's not even fucking pizza. That's not like a slice of pizza. That's like some specialty pizza. You know what I mean? So it's like the bagel and the coffee. It's like, that's not what pizza is. Pizza's a slice.
There should be staples. Very simple staples. So don't get me wrong. I got pizzerias that I go to that I get like the Sicilian slice with buffalo chicken and hot sauce and all that, like specialty pie. And they're fucking delicious. But there's occasionally, I want the salty, cheesy, saucy triangle that comes out of a circle.
You want a slice?
I want a fucking slice.
Right.
We're going to get right back to the show. But before we do, we'd like to invite you to come visit our Patreon.
Each week, we discuss a new topic at the intersection of society and religion.
We explore the encroachment of religion onto secular institutions, such as schools, workplaces, and government.
In addition, we'll investigate whether religion practices what it preaches.
So, after this episode, head on over to patreon.com/Libel to Bible and join in the conversation.
And now, back to the show. Speaking of trans, I got a question for you. So there's a transgender teacher. This transgender teacher had a pride flag on a potted plant in her classroom.
Okay.
Okay.
I assume it's a small, like, little toothpick flag, like in a plant. It's probably a small flag, right?
It wasn't small. It was like a pot. It doesn't matter what the size was. It's a pride flag. Why does the size matter?
Size matters, man. Don't ever kid yourself, man.
Okay. You're overcomplicating it now. So she had the pride flag in a potted plant. It was draped around the potted plant.
Oh, so I was speaking of a
So it was an
toothpick.
actual flag draped around the potted plant. Someone vandalized it over a weekend, okay? Here's my question. Should she be allowed to display a trans flag in the classroom?
When you say trans flag, you're talking about a pride flag? Like, is there a specific trans
I'm talking
flag?
about the pride
The
flag.
progressive pride flag. The one with all the extra colors.
Additional accoutrements.
The flag you hate.
The ones that annoy the fuck out of
Right.
me.
Okay. Should she?
And again, for those who are just new, who haven't listened to prior episodes, my problem with the new pride flag is they took the original pride flag, which is the spectrum. For anyone that doesn't know what spectrum means, go and fucking look it up. The spectrum means from the beginning to the end. It means it's the spectrum, right? When you say it's the spectrum, you mean everything. So the fact that they had to add shit to the spectrum is nonsense to me. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so what do you think, Scott? Should she be allowed to have a pride flag in the classroom?
No. They're just indoctrinating our children to be trans-testicle.
You're not being
serious.
serious. I'm
Seriously?
asking you a serious question.
Seriously? No. Why? I'm sorry. Yeah. Why can't she? Why? Why can't she drape a flower pot in some colors?
All right. So your initial reaction is she should be allowed to have.
Yes,
Okay.
but that's not without. That's without looking deeper into it. Like, my gut reaction is, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit.
No.
Okay. Can a teacher have a swastika flag draped around the potted plant?
No.
Why not?
That is generally recognized as a symbol of hate.
It is generally recognized as a symbol of hate.
Yes. So that cannot be accepted. Unless you have a really good argument to put it there.
So now, Scott, I'm going to say that who's deciding what is hate and what is not hate? And it's kind of like a slippery slope that now who's in charge of deciding?
I feel you. I feel you on that. But I'm going to tell you, a swastika has got like 75 years of hate behind it, where a pride flag, a progressive pride flag, there's hate towards that flag, but there's not hate emanating from that flag.
Can I wrap an NRA flag around it?
Well, the NRA is a specific organization, and it's got political overtones to it. But then you know what? So does the pride flag now. So I don't know. Yeah. No, I don't like to. You know what it is? Flags I like, you can wrap your plants in. Flags I don't like, you can't.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, at what point, like, why does a display of your own personal ideology
Oh, all right.
need to be in the classroom if you're a teacher.
That's I didn't know you were going to finish it with that, but I was going to say you're right. Your own display of your personal ideology probably should not be in the classroom, regardless of whether it's got a hateful connotation to it or like we don't know what. No, you're right. Why? I work for a big corporation that they pretty much send down a decree: remove all your family pictures from your cubicle, remove any symbolism that's not corporate symbolism. Because they were afraid of people like whatever, like the workplace is not for you to express your own private whatever.
Right.
You're here to be you're here to be a worker.
Right.
So saying that, I get it.
Like if I believed that, in the 1980s, if I was for the legalization of marijuana, right? Could I display like normal and ORML?
In the classroom or in your workspace, any workspace.
Yes.
It's a little more sensitive in a classroom because you're talking about influencing.
It's a political
children.
ideology,
right?
And
So,
trans rights is a political ideology, whether you agree with it or not. The trans flag represents a political ideology.
fair enough.
It represents rights, human civil rights, acceptance. For all people, right? But it's at the end of the day, it's also a political statement that you're making.
Absolutely.
Right? So my only question is, if you are going to allow a trans flag in the classroom, where does it end? I know what that sounds like. I know it sounds crazy because that's like the argument that's used, if we start letting gay people get married, where does it end? Yeah. But really, if you're going to allow First Amendment expression to that level, like what kind of flag can I fly? Like the Confederate flag? Can I fly the Star of David? Can I fly a Palestinian flag, the PLO flag? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I fly the flag of Hamas? Like, what flags am I allowed to fly in my classroom?
That's a fantastic point. So, in the 3 minutes of progress I've made in my life, that flag should not be allowed. She should not be wrapping her plants in a trans
it's an interesting debate. Like I'm open to hearing open to hearing everyone's side.
But let's not conflate, compare flying a politically ideological flag with talking to children about the fact that trans people exist. Right? So let's not confuse that.
Sure.
Right? So, but I think a lot of times everybody confuses that shit. Like, I don't need to fly the flag, but if a child asks me about gay people, queer people, LGBT, whatever, these are conversations that should be allowed.
Right.
We can't just not even fucking talk about it. But you know what? Now that you meant, I don't think the flag should be allowed based on the 3 minutes of progress I've made.
When I was teaching, I didn't have pictures of women sucking guys' cocks. I'm into that, I'm into getting
you mean displayed to the
I'm
children.
I'm into getting oral sex, you know what I mean? But I didn't have a flag to display. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm making a ridiculous joke about it. But it's definitely a debate that I think we should be allowed to have and not be afraid to have if we're genuinely open to the arguments.
And I've said this many times, maybe never on this podcast, but I say it many times in my life, don't attack me for asking the questions. If I'm being genuine in asking the questions.
The problem is it's been used in bad faith. I'm just asking questions has been used in bad faith so many times. And if someone doesn't trust you, they don't trust you to be asking in good faith. You can... So hopefully our audience trusts us enough at this point with the sensitive topics to handle them in a mature, way.
They must come from such a destroyed family life that they're putting their trust in us and not Uncle Zed.
It's funny. They think we're the reasonable ones because they grow up in Bible country. So it's when they hear us, they're like, oh, these guys are very reasonable.
I want to make a note here because,
Ellie Mae, I'm listening to Libel the Bible. Come on over. These guys are talking about trans rights. I never considered that before. Eehaw!
Yeah, so I was at a beer fest yesterday, and I tried some light beers. I tried like 3 or 4 light beers and they all sucked.
What kind of beers were they?
That doesn't fucking matter. They were light
Pilsners?
beers. So I'm just
were they IPAs?
No, I don't light beers. They're their own category. Like they don't even fall under like pilsners or IPAs or stouts. They're just light beers, and they suck. And that's why I understand why Bud Light sacrificed Bud Light to the trans fight because it sucks. They all suck.
So you're saying Bud Light is transphobic? They're like, let the trans have this shit. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know what I'm saying, man. I don't know what I'm saying.
So you know what else we talked about in our failed recording, or it was a successful recording, and then I lost it. We talked about not being pressured to have conversations at the beginnings of shows, and if we feel like we have nothing to talk about, we could just dive right into like the content of the Bible. Remember?
Yeah. And I was like, and maybe the secondary conversations will come naturally based on the content, and we're like, so let me ask you this: how far along into the podcast are we right now talking about non-biblical shit?
We're 29 minutes in.
29 minutes in, but we're also you're talking about trans rights and stuff like that, so it's kind of topical.
Pizza.
And this pizza, yeah, right. Pizza is very much mentioned in the Bible. Thou shalt not produce crappy pizza.
No, but it's the way we deal with the pizza employees, right? It's like the way you were dealing with another human and the way the other human was dealing with you. Maybe we can take lessons from the Bible and how to do that.
And I thought about after the fact, like if I don't know who's in that fucking pizzeria. There was probably 8 people, maybe 5 adults, 3 kids.
Well, there's probably it depends on what neighborhood you were in. But if I had to guess, there's probably a Vinny in there. There's a Sal. Yeah.
So now I'll probably run into these people throughout my life. Like I might run into these guys again, and like I don't remember what they look like. I don't remember what the guy behind the counter looked like. But I felt bad. Like maybe he didn't fucking deserve that. He wasn't trained well. He's just he's somebody's nephew who doesn't have a job, so he's working the pizzeria. And like I might be introduced to him.
You were Karen.
I was
You were Karen.
I was a Karen.
Yeah.
But like I might be introduced to him at an event one day.
When did this happen, by the way?
Like a week ago.
Okay.
Hey, Scott, here's Joey. Hey, Joey, what's going on? And I'll then turn to you and go, yo, I think Joey doesn't fucking like me. He's giving me a fucking nasty look. Because he remembered I was that dick in the pizzeria.
I don't think the customers are going to give a fuck. They're going to forget. No. They're not even going to remember it was you.
And they might even look at like, this motherfucker was right. This pizza's garbage.
But the guy behind the counter might remember you.
Yeah, you know, he probably didn't deserve that. I mean, I could have handled it better.
Man.
And, you know, I might.
That would make you a big man.
I might. And he might go, fuck you. He might say, go fuck
So.
yourself. And
I think if you come in and you're like, yo, man, I was here last week and I acted like a fucking asshole.
I mount off, but your pizza, you delivered some shit pizza.
But you were a little out of line.
You were a little out of line yourself.
Yeah.
Nah, let's have a drink. Drinks on the house. Fuck that. Speaking of drinks, I'm going to have a drink.
Keep them here. Keep them here.
Keep them here. Lock the door.
All right. So we are doing a very interesting book of the Bible. Samuel has been nothing but kick ass. I'm sorry, you're right.
And listen, Samuel as a total may be awesome, but we haven't gone to 2 Samuel, so I don't want like Matrix Revolutions be able to ride on the back of the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So 1 Samuel so far has been pretty fucking good.
Okay. So yes, 1 Samuel has been really good. We've done the first 10 chapters. Today we're going to start chapter 11. Before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to a Twitter account.
Nice.
It's Misread Bible. It's at Misread Bible. And what this account does is they take verses of the Bible and he basically paraphrases it in a comedic manner. Okay? So there was one today that I can't find right now, but it was basically about when we're reading. What are you laughing at?
Just keep going, man. What you said was funny. Like you were like, oh, you were about to dive into shit, and then you were like, oh, I don't actually have it at my fingertips right now.
Well,
so that's
I don't
funny,
have
man.
the actual wording of it.
Just keep it going, man. Yeah, man.
But I don't see what's funny about it.
All right. Yeah, it wasn't funny, man. Like I don't understand humor.
I mean, okay. So anyway, when we were doing the story of Samson, remember when Samson ripped apart the lion with his bare hands?
Yeah.
And then for some reason, honeybees like made a comb inside the lion, And then like a month later, whatever, Samson was walking by the lion and stuck his hand in the fucking lion. So the whole point of that is, it's an account that I follow called Misread Bible, and he had like a little thing about that particular section. I didn't start talking about this in order to praise that particular tweet. I just started this conversation because it reminded me of that crazy fucking story when Samson literally ripped apart a lion with his bare fucking hands, you know, and then like later on like ate honey out of it.
Right.
Then he created like some fucking fresh rhymes from it.
So you don't really recall what the tweet or account fucking said, but you remember the feeling you got from it and the.
It reminded me of that particular story.
So what I want you to do is shout out the account name again.
It's Misread Bible, and the handle is at Misread Bible.
All right. I just hope at Misread Bible throws a shout out to us too, man, in his tweets.
I don't know that they're listening though. I don't think they listen to the show.
Is anybody listening?
No.
Oh wait, we're top 10 podcasts in the world, man.
Not top 10 podcasts. Top 10% podcast. All right, I found the tweet. Sometime later, Samson found that a swarm of bees had made honey in a lion carcass. He scooped out the honey with his hands, and when he joined his parents, he gave it to them. As they ate it, he sniggered to himself, for he hadn't told them where he got it. Judges 14, 8-9.
Is that the comedic
Yes.
version of it?
Yeah, that didn't really happen. He wasn't like... So he showed up to his parents' house with the honey on his hand, and he gave it to them. But he's like, he gave it to them, and then he was like, they don't know where I got it, because he got it from inside of a lion.
And you, I think, had said, like, the honey is a metaphor for, like, down under juice in a woman. And, like, he penetrated a woman with his hand.
I probably said that. That sounds like something I would say.
So, basically, he got up in a girl.
Yeah.
And it said, Dad, taste this. Mom, taste this.
Yeah, he's like John when he comes back into your house at a party. He's like, yo, smell my fingers.
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with that fucking guy?
A lot.
Yeah.
All right. So, Saul. Not as powerful as Samson.
Who could be?
Who will steal your city gates at the drop of a dime. Just take off with your city gates.
I'm just going to say, seriously, I want to create a board game. And, like, one of the cards that fucks you up is Samson steals your gate, move back 3 spaces. That, like, motivated me to make a board game, man.
Get invaded by the Philistines.
And fuck that. The Samson stole your gate is the most hysterical thing.
All right. Well, Saul, he has been made the king? Has he been coronated yet?
I don't know, because we're rewinding to after the episode we already recorded.
So that's what I mean.
Let's say right now, no, I don't think he's a king.
So
they were clamoring for a king.
I think they've chosen him though. He's been selected to be the king.
Yeah, he was tall and handsome.
So
and
he's
all
definitely
that shit.
been selected already.
Right.
I don't know if he's been officially like coronated.
Front runner though.
But he's not front runner. He's at worst king elect.
Fair enough.
At worst, he's king elect.
Sure.
So that gets us to Samuel 11. Saul defeats the Ammonites. You want to start us off?
I guess.
I mean,
about a month later, Nahash the Ammonite went up and besieged Jabesh Gilead.
I'm sorry. So a month later, because it starts with about a month later, so we have to give context to our listeners because this wasn't part of the previously on. A month later, chapter 10 ended with apparently there was some Ammonite ruler who was like fucking gouging out like the eyes of like Israelites and fucking them up real bad. And they were like returning back to like Israeli land, like, oh, this fucking guy.
Where's my eye?
Yeah. All right. So that's where we're at. So about a month later.
Hold on. I want to comment on this some further. Perhaps as we tweak the format of the way we do shows, maybe we have our random conversation that we have at the beginning of every episode. And then right before we actually go into the Bible, then we do our previously on. What if we do the previously on after the random conversation? Something to think about, man. We can talk about it in post.
The reason that we don't do that is because the previously on also acts as like a sound check. So like we do the previously on and it's like a sound check as opposed to like we do a fucking hour and a half like episode and then like the sound is fucking garbage.
Maybe we're only like not in the top 8% because we take shortcuts like that. Maybe we should like rethink it. We'll talk about it in like pre-production meeting.
Why? You don't think people like to hear like behind the scenes conversations about how to structure the show?
I'm not sure what anybody fucking feels because nobody fucking tells us how they feel, man. We're just fucking on wing our prayer over here.
I know what you're saying. It's a little too intellectual for those in the Bible Belt.
I wasn't saying that. I don't know. That's the people I'm trying to appeal to. I don't know. Whatever, man.
They probably think like we record everything in real time.
You know, I just think every once in a while we need to
How
mix
do they
shit.
get the music in the back of the previously on, honey?
They have a band that's just ready behind them. I gotta tell you, the fuck up of you losing the files, like again, like people need to understand, like they just sit back every week getting a product delivered to them, and they don't understand the fucking trials and tribulations we go through to get them that product.
Because they're dumb rednecks. Why would they fucking understand?
And now I understand why Hollywood has to have like award show after award show praising these dumbasses that fucking, I am the sound engineer only in control of this lever. Right. There's like 400 fucking sound engineers, but we got whatever, man. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Eyes are gouged out. Saul defeats the Ammonites. 1 Samuel 11. About a month later, Nahash the Ammonite went up and besieged Jabesh Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said to Nahash, "Make a treaty with us, and we will serve you." But Nahash the Ammonite said to them, "On this condition I will make a treaty with you, namely that I gouge out everyone's right eye, and thus put disgrace upon all Israel." The elders of Jabesh said to him, "Give us 7 days' respite, that we may send messengers throughout all the territory of Israel. Then, if there is no one to save us, we will give ourselves up to you." When the messengers came to Gibeah of Saul, they reported the matter in the hearing of the people, and all the people wept aloud.
Yeah.
So we discussed this, now it's coming back to me. So basically it's like, yo, how about I gouge all your fucking eyes out? And they were like, how about you give us 7 days to like raise an army to stop you from doing that?
Yeah.
And they go, okay.
Yeah. That's pretty fucking stupid.
It's stupid. Like, who the fuck is this? Nahash the Ammonite should be Nahash the dumbass. Fucking, he's not going to be the king of anything. Now, Saul was coming from the field behind the oxen, and Saul said, "What is the matter with the people, that they are weeping?" So they told him the message from the inhabitants of Jabesh. And the Spirit of God came upon Saul in power when he heard these words, and his anger was greatly kindled. He took a yoke of oxen and cut them in pieces and sent them throughout all the territory of Israel by the messengers, saying, "Whoever does not come out after Saul and Samuel, so shall it be done to his oxen." Then the dread of the Lord fell upon the people, and they came out as one. When he mustered them at Bezek, those from Israel were 300,000, and those from Judah 70,000. They said to the messengers who had come, "Thus shall you say to the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, tomorrow by the time the sun is hot, you shall have deliverance." When the messengers came and told the inhabitants of Jabesh, they rejoiced. So the inhabitants of Jabesh said, "Tomorrow we will give ourselves up to you, and you may do to us whatever seems good to you." The next day Saul put the people in 3 companies. At the morning watch they came into the camp and cut down the Ammonites until the heat of the day, and those who survived were scattered, so that no 2 of them were left together.
Those who survived of the Ammonites, or
Yes.
of the Ammonites.
So let's break this down, because I know when I hear people reading, I don't follow. When I'm reading, I barely follow. So basically, they gave him permission. You got 7 days to rally your troops. And they did rally the troops. Stupid.
No, I want you to really think about what's going on.
Yeah.
So let's say this fucking Nahash cocksucker, right? Nahash the Ammonite, right?
Yeah.
So he's like Lex Luthor.
I like it.
Okay. He's got Superman, right? And he's got Superman dying. He's got like kryptonite like wrapped around his neck. He's got him. It's over.
Right.
And Superman's like, yo, can you take off this kryptonite? Give me 7 days to go and get the rest of the Justice League.
Okay.
Yeah, you can kill me now. But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, any punk can kill
Let me go and get like the Justice League, and I'll come back in 7 days. And Lex Luthor's like, yeah, sure, all right, I'll let you do that. Under what fucking, like who would do that? Like, in what reality?
A super cocky, arrogant asshole would do that.
So you're saying that this fucking Nahash guy, he's all high on people's eyeballs. Like, he's been, like, taking out so many eyeballs.
Yeah. You know what? Go ahead. Raise your fucking army. I dare you. And people around him like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, please, with these motherfuckers, please.
So Saul raises an army of, 370,000 people?
But he does it he does it like it's always been done. He chops up an oxen. He sends dead pieces.
An oxen, a yoke.
A yoke, which we determined was a group of oxen.
A group of oxen, sure.
Well, because you're sending them to
Like
a lot of
team
people.
of oxen.
You got to cut up a lot of oxen to make a point.
Because he's sending them to all the different corners of Israel.
So basically, mail call. You go out to the mailbox. You open your fucking letter, and there's a seeping, bloody piece of fucking oxen that says, join us, or this is your oxen.
Right.
And now you're scared.
Well,
you
no,
honey.
it probably doesn't even say anything. It's like when in The Godfather, they received, like, the package, and it was a fish wrapped in, like, a fucking bulletproof vest. And he's like, what is this? And it's like, it means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes. And it's like, how the fuck did you know? Is that like any time that someone receives a fish with a bulletproof vest, that means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes?
Apparently it's in the code book. So
Right.
yeah, maybe this is in the code book. There's no words. It's just a piece
Right,
of
it's
fucking
just ox. Right.
Like, it could be Uncle Bob saying, check out my meat, man. This is fucking pretty good, right? But no, everybody knows and they fucking rally around. All right.
Bob's like, oh shit, did I just start a war? I just started making oxen jerky I wanted people to sample.
Right, 300,000 people show
like,
up and like, the fuck are you doing here? And now he's got to save face. He's got to be like, so this Nahash of the Ammonites wants some fucking trouble.
Yeah.
Because now you got to fucking do something. Good point, man. Like this war was a misunderstanding.
Yeah. All over beef jerky.
So they rout the fucking Ammonites for no reason, apparently, because it didn't have to happen. The people said to Samuel, who is it that said, shall Saul reign over us? Give them to us so that we may put them to death. But Saul said, no one shall be put to death this day, for today the Lord has brought deliverance to Israel. So basically, they rout the Ammonites, and then people turn around and go, yo, who said Saul shouldn't have been the leader?
Right.
Because Saul just kicked ass.
Who was making fun of the fact that we were going to make Saul the king?
Yeah. Let's bring them out. Let's kill them.
And by the way, the people said to Samuel, it says, right? The people said to Samuel, who is it that said Saul shall not reign over us, or whatever it says? You know who it was? Samuel. Samuel said he doesn't want Saul because he didn't want a king.
Yo, so they're in Samuel's face, like doing the finger snap in the Z formation.
They're like,
who
told you
said?
so.
Who said? But they're not gonna fuck Saul up because he's an old dude, and it's his father.
Samuel.
Samuel. He's not gonna fuck Samuel up. But they're like, yo, bring anybody who said. Yeah, these people are bloodthirsty. Samuel said to the people, come, let us to go to Gilgal, and there renew the kingship. So all the people went to Gilgal, and there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgal. There they sacrificed offerings of well-being before the Lord, and there Saul and all the Israelites rejoiced greatly. All right. So Saul's in charge.
So
at this
now
point.
Saul is officially the king.
He routed the Ammonites, man.
Samuel's farewell address. So this is going to be like when Nixon left office and he had to like give his like.
Is Samuel feeling disgraced now because like he made a bad decision that turned out in retrospect to be a bad decision because his son just fucking kicked ass?
Yeah.
So does Samuel feel like he has to go because my bad, I got to go. Thanks for not murdering me.
I think Samuel's just happy that he was allowed to live his life and God didn't like fucking incinerate him.
Yeah, or people, because let's face it, it's people, man. Like God's just an excuse for people being assholes.
Samuel's farewell address, 1 Samuel 12. Samuel said to all Israel, I have listened to you in all that you have said to me, and have set a king over you. See, it is the king who leads you now. I am old and gray, but my sons are with you. I have led you from my youth until this day. Here I am. Testify against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Or whose donkey have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Or from whose hand have I taken a bribe to blind my eyes with it? Testify against me, and I will restore it to you. They said, You have not defrauded us or oppressed us or taken anything from the hand of anyone. He said to them, The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness to this day, that you have not found anything in my hand. And they said, He is witness. And then he pulled out an ace from his fucking sleeve. No. So basically, he's like, yo, man, have I not been honest with you this whole time that I have been judge? Let anyone step forward and claim that I've been corrupted. And they're all like, nah, man, you've been all right. You've been cool.
You're right. It's time to go, though. So you know why he's doing this?
Yeah, so when he pulls out, like, to prevent himself from being, like, legally responsible for all the shit he's about to, like, show that he stole during his time as judge. He's like, I just need you to sign this contract saying I did not steal anything.
Right. Okay. But I was actually thinking, in modern times, like, every time you hear about, like, a revolution in a country or, like, a president gets voted out.
You want a revolution.
All you hear about is, like, and excuse me, Haiti, if, like, this doesn't apply to you, I'm just going to use Haiti as an example. Like the Haitian president is now in hiding because he's going to get executed by the new government.
Yeah.
Like, even in modern day times, like, when a government, like, gets changed, they execute the old government. So this guy knows what's going on.
Let me refer you to January 6, 2020 in Washington, D.C., sir, when a group of people stormed the U.S. Capitol looking to, like, fucking kill some politicians who were unwilling to stop the certification of a presidential election.
I know on a good
So
authority.
it's not Haiti. You don't have to go all the way to Haiti.
I know on good
You
authority.
can go down to Alabama.
I know on good authority that hang Mike Pence being chanted was photoshopped into the video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it was all a fucking conspiracy by George Soros and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, my bad. All right.
So let me digress for a second. So I'm down in Atlantic City. Just got back. Yesterday, I'm chilling in the fucking hotel lobby, and this is like cool, funny guy. They got a live band playing. He's dancing crazy. He gets up on the table. He's doing his thing. I'm like, look at this fun-loving guy. He's going to be fucking regretting this later. And then fucking I see the back of his shirt. It says, defund the media. And it's some like Republicans, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he turns to me and he's dancing. I'm like, he's having a good time. His shirt is the angry Donald Trump face, like with his puckered up lips, fucking angry facing. And it was like, I was there, January 6th, stop the steal. It was like all fucking like all that shit. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And January 6th is very third worldy.
Yes.
So, kind of, I didn't know where the fuck I was going to finish with that. But I was like, I wanted to like this guy. And then, no, I can't like this fucking guy. Because he's screaming at, if you're wearing, first of all, you're in a fucking casino, in a fucking lobby, a fucking high-end, like you think it's a good establishment, fun, and you're fucking screaming from the top of your lungs, I'm an insurrectionist.
Said no one ever in Atlantic City, by the way.
No, yeah. It's like,
It's a nice establishment.
It's like Vegas Light, right?
Vegas Light. It's like Atlantic City is like if Vegas got seriously addicted to meth, and then, while it was addicted on meth, got addicted to crack, and then was forced to live in a homeless shelter where it got addicted to heroin. That's Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah. It's rough. It's fucked up. It's fucked up down there. But so I was just thinking, like, Samuel, because now he's being replaced by his son, probably feels like
Samuel is not being replaced by his son.
What do you mean Samuel's not being replaced?
Samuel,
Saul his son?
Saul is not his son. Samuel had a couple of sons who were like ne'er-do-wells. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do. They were not following the rules of God. And the people came to Samuel and they said, we don't want judges anymore. We want a king. And Samuel was like, you are not going to get a king. And then Yahweh was like, nah, fuck it. Let's give him a king. And he chose Saul, who was not Samuel's son.
Oh, okay. Let's take it back.
Yeah,
all right, so even worse.
Samuel's sons are shit.
So now Saul's definitely leaving office. I mean, Samuel's fucking gone.
Yeah.
And he's appealing to the people like, yo, I was cool. I was good. Like, don't lynch me.
Oh, is that what he's doing right now?
Because they always lynch the former government, man.
Yeah. Samuel said to the people, the Lord is witness who appointed Moses and Aaron and brought your ancestors up out of the land of Egypt. That's this bullshit again. It's like, the guy, it's like your next door neighbor that's still playing like Run Around Sue. You know what I mean? It's like, how many times can you listen to the same goddamn fucking tune?
Sweet Caroline.
Right.
Bum, Yeah.
Egypt, which was like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
It's like, great, congratulations. You're still fucking dining off that fucking one
Playing
thing.
that card, huh?
The Lord is witness who appointed Moses and Aaron and brought your ancestors up out of the land of Egypt. Now, therefore, take your stand so that I may enter into judgment with you before the Lord, and I will declare to you all the righteous acts of the Lord that he performed for you and for your ancestors. When Jacob went into Egypt and the Egyptians oppressed them, then your ancestors cried to the Lord, and the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, who brought forth your ancestors out of Egypt and settled them in this place. But they forgot the Lord their God, and he sold them into the hand of Sisera, commander of the army of King Jabin of Hazor, and into the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them. Then they cried to the Lord and said, We have sinned, for we have forsaken the Lord and have served the Baals and the Astartes. But now rescue us out of the hand of our enemies, and we will serve you. And the Lord sent Jerubbaal and Barak and Jephthah and Samson and rescued you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and you lived in safety. But when you saw that King Nahash of the Ammonites came against you, you said to me, No, but a king shall reign over us, though the Lord your God was your king. See, here is the king whom you have chosen, for whom you have asked. See, the Lord has set a king over you. If you will fear the Lord and serve him and heed his voice and not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, and if both you and the king who reigns over you will follow the Lord your God, it will be well. But if you will not heed the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then the hand of the Lord will be against you and your king. Now, therefore, take your stand and see this great thing that the Lord will do before your eyes. It is not the wheat harvest today. Is it not the wheat harvest today? I will call upon the Lord that he may send thunder and rain, and you shall know and see that wickedness that you have done in the sight of the Lord is great in demanding a king for yourselves. So Samuel called upon the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. It's a lot. He said a lot.
It's a lot.
He said a lot.
This reading that you just did makes me wonder if the format we're using for our podcast is like the way to go.
Why is that?
Because you just read a history lesson. Mm-hmm. And even when this happened back then, people were snoring at this fucking point.
So you're saying you were bored while I was reading it?
Not bored. It's a lot of material. Like, when you're being lectured to, like children are hearing this. They're like, Mommy, can I go back to the park and play? Shut up, honey.
Is that how you feel?
He's almost done. I feel like this was a history lesson that I didn't understand why Samuel felt the need to do this.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Samuel felt the need to do this because him and Yahweh are annoyed that Yahweh had set up a system of judges.
Okay.
And his point is that Yahweh has been with you all this time. He doesn't mention the fact that the only reason that Jacob was in Egypt was because Yahweh told Jacob to go to Egypt, where
they leave
Jacob
out all the
became
facts,
enslaved for like hundreds of years. But he's painting this picture of Yahweh as always being there for the Israelites, and Yahweh had set up these judges because Yahweh knows what's best. But no, that wasn't good enough for you. You people wanted a king when Yahweh is really your king. So he's basically like scolded. This is peak Jewish fucking like what do you call it? What what's the word I'm looking for, man?
Guilt.
Oh my God, guilt. He's laying a guilt trip on them. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Peak Jewish guilt trip.
Do you think finally somebody had the balls in the middle of this to just go up and go, fake news? Yeah, that would have been cool.
Well, you know, the Israelites have always been obedient and have done everything that Yahweh said, and so the judges. So, no, I don't think anybody possibly was that cynical.
Right. They wait till nobody's looking to act up.
All the people said to Samuel, "Pray to the Lord your God for your servants so that we may not die. For we have added to all our sins the evil of demanding a king for ourselves." And Samuel said to the people, "Do not be afraid. You have done all this evil, yet do not turn aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart. And do not turn aside after useless things that cannot profit or save, for they are useless. For the Lord will not cast away his people for his great name's sake, because it has pleased the Lord to make you a people for himself." So it's like, you know, just because like you're fucking up doesn't mean like don't delete like your whole Age of Empires game just because, you know, like one town is acting up. You know, you worked on that shit for like a long time. You know, worst comes to worst, you can always wipe out like that particular fucking village and like start another one. You know what I mean?
Like how you tune the lesson specifically for like how I would understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to, you know.
Yeah.
Moreover, as for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by ceasing to pray for you, and I will instruct you in the good and the right way. Only fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. For consider what great things he has done for you. But if you still do wickedly, you shall be swept away, both you and your king.
Okay, so they clamored for a king. Samuel, I feel, is like reading them the riot act and go, all right, you want a king? Here's your history lesson. You want a fucking king? Fine. We'll give you a fucking king, but follow these fucking rules or it's going to be an I told you so moment.
It's kind of like when they were complaining that they were starving. Yahweh was like, "Oh, you want some fucking food? I'm going to give you so much goddamn food. Food's going to be coming out of your fucking asshole.
Quails up your fucking nose, right?
Yeah. It's like, man, it's like so extreme with Yahweh always.
Yeah, there's never a fucking middle ground.
Right.
Like, all right, Yahweh, that's a good rule, but how about we just do this? All right, you want this?
Right.
All right, yeah.
Oh, you want to sleep? I'll give you some fucking sleep. You're going to sleep for the rest of fucking eternity.
Smoke the whole fucking cotton. So Samuel 1:12, the second to last verse, 24. I just want to reiterate this. And he basically says, only, so this is going to be simple, right? He's telling you to only do this. Only fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. That's a full-time fucking job. Don't say like only fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. That's 100% of your energy.
Yo,
So take the word
that,
only
Scott,
out.
what's
Take the word only out.
All he's asking is for you to devote every waking moment of your entire life to service the Lord.
Only.
What's
do
the
that.
problem?
Only do that. You're right.
That's the only one thing. It's just one thing. I mean, listen, there's like 10,000 subheadings to that one thing, but really it's just one thing.
This book's asking a lot, man. So far. Anyway. Might get better.
It's not the book. Yahweh is asking a lot.
Or it's Samuel asking under the guise of this is coming from Yahweh. It's how do I keep power?
Yeah, he's set himself up with a nice cushy profession, right?
Yeah, being a leader of these stiff necks.
He's like the Grateful Dead. He's like traveling the country. He's known everywhere. He's on tour constantly.
Yeah. Are the Grateful Dead still touring?
No. Jerry Garcia died a long time ago.
Before or after Cherry Garcia ice cream?
I don't know. And they tour, but not as the Grateful Dead. They're like Grateful Dead and Friends. Something like that. Doesn't matter.
All right, it's just a question, man. Don't dismiss my questions.
I didn't. I addressed your question.
1 Samuel 13. Saul's unlawful sacrifice. Saul was ... years old. Wait. We're gonna do this the right way.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Don't look at the page.
I'm not.
Rusty, give me a number.
34.
All right, Rusty. Give me another number.
69.
Saul was 34 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 69 and 2 years over Israel. So it's like 69
70.
with like a
So
nose up your ass.
It's 60. It's a 69 with 2 fingers in your ass. Yeah.
Oh, I knew what I was doing. Then.
What'd you say with a nose in your ass?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever, man. If you're in it, go for it, man. So I was just pointing out that the Bible actually has ... like this missing information,
Right.
Which is fine. These are old
they don't know.
documents that were
Look,
found somewhere.
The Bible, right? It's been fact checked. This one particular fact they weren't sure about, and they didn't want to just make any number up. You know what I mean?
So wait, Saul was ... years old when he began his reign, and he reigned ... and 2 years over Israel. I bet you that's the format for every single story in this Bible. And they missed this page, and they didn't fucking fill in the actual numbers.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a fucking template.
It's a template,
This is
right.
fucking boilerplate bullshit is what this is.
It's a cover letter.
yeah.
Fuck.
Saul chose 3,000 out of Israel. 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash. Oh, we're going back to Michmash. 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and the hill country of Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. The rest of the people he sent home to their tents. Jonathan defeated the garrison of the Philistines that was at Gibeah, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear." When all Israel heard that Saul had defeated the garrison of the Philistines, and also that Israel had become odious to the Philistines, the people were called out to join Saul at Gilgal. Okay, so Jonathan defeated the garrison of the... First of all, are we just transitioning into a fight with the Philistines that, like, there was no lead up to this? Like, it's like a bad edit?
I'm sorry.
We're
Is this
fighting
your first day reading this book?
Maybe.
Go ahead. Ask your question again.
Was this a bad edit into a fight with the Philistines?
Yes.
Okay. Jonathan defeated the garrison of the Philistines that was at Gibeah, and the Philistines heard of it. I think we discussed this. Like, how would they not have heard of it? They got their asses kicked.
It's like one Philistine guy turns to the other, right? The first guy, his arm's been chopped off. The other guy's got like an arrow through his neck. And the guy with the arm chopped off is like, "Yo, did you hear about what happened to us today?" And he's like, "I did hear about what happened to us today."
And the other guy was like, "No, tell me." And just as he's about to tell him, like his head got lopped off.
We should tell everyone else in our company. And then they turn around and everyone else in their company's dead.
Yo, are the Philistines dumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're unsophisticated.
Yeah. All right, blah, blah, blah. So, what does odious mean?
Odious means, didn't we do this already, Scott? Didn't I already tell you what odious means?
Yeah, this isn't deja vu. This is a repeat that fucking the episode
like,
got lost.
It's like repulsive, unpleasant. Like it's disgusting.
All right, so we like the Israelites are disgusted by the Philistines. All right. The Philistines mustered to fight with Israel 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and troops like the sand on the seashore in multitude. They came up and encamped at Michmash to the east of Beth-aven. When the Israelites saw that they were in distress, parentheses, for the troops were hard pressed, close parentheses, the people hid themselves in caves and in holes and in rocks and in tombs and in cisterns.
The fuck's a cistern?
It's like an underground, like where you keep like something that holds like liquids.
Okay.
Some Hebrews crossed the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. Saul was still at Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. So basically, the Philistines showed up with their shit, and the Israelites made out like Scooby-Doo people. Slinks! And they fucking feet don't fail me now. And they hid in trees. They hid on the ground. They hid in caves.
Yeah.
Right?
You're scared.
Yeah, they should be.
Scaredy cats. 1 Samuel 13, verse 8. He waited 7 days, the time appointed by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal. I'm sorry, who waited 7 days?
Saul, like Saul and his people, like troops.
He waited 7 days.
Because Samuel's going to come. he's going to make it right. Like we're going to stand here and wait till Samuel shows up.
Where does it say anything about 7 days, though? I'm not understanding.
No, this is new. They just threw it out there like you had some background information where you didn't.
Oh, so I'm not the idiot. It's okay.
Bad editing.
All right.
Wait, Russ. Is this your first time reading the Bible?
He waited 7 days, the time appointed by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people began to slip away from Saul. So Saul said, "Bring the burnt offering here to me, and the offerings of well-being." And he offered the burnt offering. As soon as he had finished the burnt offering, as soon as he had finished offering
You're not wrong.
the burnt offering, so fucking stupid. This book is so fucking stupid. All right, let me go back to the beginning of verse 9.
Go 10. No, just start at 10.
No. So Saul said, "Bring the burnt offering here to me, and the offerings of well-being." And he offered the burnt offering. As soon as he had finished offering the burnt offering, Samuel arrived, and Saul went out to meet him and salute him. Samuel said, "What have you done?" Saul replied, "When I saw that the people were slipping away from me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, and that the Philistines were mustering at Michmash, I said, 'Now the Philistines will come down upon me at Gilgal, and I have not entreated the favor of the Lord.' So I forced myself and offered the burnt offering." Samuel said to Saul, "You have done foolishly. You have not kept the commandment of the Lord your God, which he commanded you. The Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever, but now your kingdom will not continue. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart, and the Lord has appointed him to be ruler over his people, because you have not kept what the Lord commanded you." And Samuel left and went on his way from Gilgal. The rest of the people followed Saul to join the army. They went up from Gilgal toward Gibeah of Benjamin. So really, what is going on is,
Lots of decompress there.
what's really happening is, do you know the way like black people were fucked with in the American South for 100 years after the end of the Civil War, after the end of slavery, where like police officers would just like fucking charge them with like any technicality that they could find? It sounds like Samuel was like, "Yo, Saul, just wait for me a couple of days and I'll be there, and I'm going to set up the burnt offering because that's my job. Like, I'm the high priest, I'm the judge, I'm whatever. I'm the only one that could do that." So I was like, bet. But then the Philistines went to attack, right? And Saul knows the only way he's going to be able to defeat the Philistines is with God or Yahweh. And the only way Yahweh shows up is like when you have a cookout for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yo, man, we're like on the precipice of fucking being like attacked by these fucks. And where the fuck is Samuel?" Right? Samuel doesn't show up. So Saul is forced to perform these rituals.
If I may. Part of the way Saul got these people to rally around him is like, "Yo, Samuel's coming, man. Yo, come join me. Samuel will lead us. We're going to fuck these people up." And now, like, "Hey, where's Samuel?" And like Saul's like, "What the fuck do I do?" Yeah. He's stalling for time. It's like the curtain hasn't risen yet. The star hasn't shown up. So he does anything at this point because people are like, "Yeah, whatever, Saul. I'll see you later, man. I'm not down with this fight. Samuel ain't coming." So he has to stall for time, and that's what he's doing.
So who's at fault in all this?
Samuel.
But then Samuel shows up and he tries to make it seem like it's all Saul's fault.
Do you think fucking Samuel woke up fucking high with some prostitute fucking naked on him? He's like, pushes her off, like, "Holy shit, I gotta get to the gig." And he fucking races to get there. And then like he has to like, what do you call it when you like you push off the blame? And I forgot what it's called.
Gaslight?
Yeah, it's a gaslight, yeah.
Deflecting?
Like, deflecting, all that shit. Like, dude, where the fuck were you, man? But your who is where you were.
So that gets us to preparations for battle. Saul counted the people who were present with him, about 600 men. Saul, his son Jonathan, and the people who were present with them stayed in Gibeah of Benjamin, but the Philistines encamped at Michmash. And raiders came out of the camp of the Philistines in 3 companies. One company turned toward Ophrah to the land of Shual. Another company turned toward Beth Haran, and another company turned toward the mountain that looks down upon the valley of Zeboim, toward the wilderness. Now, there was no smith to be found throughout all the land of Israel. That's because they're all like, Goldsteins and fucking,
Oh, there's no John
Goodsteins.
Smiths.
Yeah, there's no Smiths.
There's like Joey Diamonds.
Yeah,
Joey Precious Metals. Joey fucking, you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I see. Because
You started. I just fucking finished it.
I'm Jewish. I'm allowed to say it.
All right.
Now, there was no smith to be found throughout all the land
My
of
best
Israel.
friends are Jewish.
Scott.
Sorry, guys.
How badly do you want to say Jaime? How badly do you want to say Jaime?
Where does that phrase come from? Like, where is that slang?
Jaime is a name.
It's like a proper name for a Jewish person. Like it's like Rusty Jaime.
Yeah,
Hymen?
Hymen, yeah.
Isn't that what you
I
get
worked
broken?
for Hymen.
Is that what in the vagina that gets broken?
I worked when I was working for the frozen food company. When we were living together, when we were roommates, I worked for a Hymen. His name was Fred Hymen.
Slang is Jaime? Like it's short, like Jaime is short for Hymen?
Let's move on. Now, there was no smith to be found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said. I understand why you like Family Guy, because they take like a skit and then they just run it into the ground,
I'm just asking questions.
Beyond the point of like all comedy. And it's like you're just waiting for them to move on to the next skit. And they refuse to move on. And it pounds the fucking skit annoyingly, like way past annoying.
Man.
Go ahead.
False equivalency, man. I wanted an answer, man. Jaime is like a slang short name for an actual Jewish name. All right. We're good, man.
Jaime is a name in Judaism for Hymen. Hymen. So you would say, hey, Jaime.
That's what I'm asking, man. Yeah. So when you said,
I thought that was obvious from the conversation.
Who said New York is Jaime Town back in the 80s or something? Like it was an insulting fucking...
Jesse Jackson said it when he was running for president. He called New York like derogatorily. He called it Jaime Town.
But he's such a great guy and fucking like...
Now there was no smith to be found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, the Hebrews must not make swords or spears for themselves. So all the Israelites went down to the Philistines to sharpen their plowshares, mattocks, axes, or sickles. The charge was 2/3 of a shekel for the plowshares and for the mattocks, and 1/3 of a shekel for sharpening the axes and for setting the goads. So on the day of the battle, neither sword nor spear was to be found in the possession of any of the people with Saul and Jonathan, but Saul and his son Jonathan had them. And then it ends with Jonathan surprises and routs the Philistines. Now a garrison of the Philistines had gone out to the pass of Michmash.
What?
And that's how the chapter ends, even though the headline says Jonathan surprises and routs the Philistines.
So let's skip that. Let's rewind back to now there was no smith to be found throughout the land of Israel. We had talked about this in the lost episode. So apparently, they're not giving us all the details. Apparently, the Philistines were still ruling over the Israelites. And when they beat them, they said, you can't have weapons of mass destruction. So you cannot have smiths that can make weapons. So when you need your fucking blades to cut up meat or cut your fields, you will come to us. We will sharpen your blades. You are not allowed to be able to sharpen your blades yourselves.
Is that a rule made by... Who made this rule?
But they don't go into it. Like they fucking like skipped all of that shit. Like now verse 19, now there were no smiths to be found throughout all the land of Israel.
Because the Philistines said the Hebrews must not make swords. But the Philistines aren't in charge of the Hebrews.
But they were. Remember? They fucking conquered the Hebrews. They got the ark. They stole the ark. They gave the ark back, but they still stayed in charge somehow.
So this makes a lot of sense. So now that I'm thinking about it. So if you have been suppressed for like 100 years, let's say, by a particular group of people, right? You grow up, you don't learn how to make like weapons. So none of this generation of Israelites knows how to make weapons because they were under the yoke of the Philistines and were not allowed to make weapons.
Of course. Yeah. So it's like after World War I, and the restrictions placed on Germany. They couldn't do something, so they had to do some shit in secret.
Sure, let's say just like after World War I.
Just can I make my SR-71 comment like I made like in the Lost episode?
Absolutely.
That the SR-71 Blackbird, the reconnaissance vehicle, fast forward, had to have a titanium skin because of the friction, because it was so fast, and the people that controlled all the titanium trade was the Soviet Union. So the CIA set up a bunch of shell companies to secretly procure titanium in order to build the very reconnaissance jet that was used to spy on the people they were procuring the titanium from.
Nice.
Pretty awesome. And then you said, the Soviets knew that the CIA was procuring the titanium from them. Because you're a Soviet at heart, man.
And that's where we're at right now. We finished 1 Samuel 13.
So I don't think the end of this chapter, I think there was bad editing. Jonathan surprised and rousts the Philistines. Are we going to get into that?
It's shit. Nah, let's do it next time.
So I think we have to make a note to come back to the last chapter of this.
The last verse
of this chapter.
So we'll start with verse 23. 1 Samuel 13, verse 23 to begin. You going to make a note of that?
We just did.
It's a mental note.
It's a mental note.
Absolutely, we will remember that. Yeah. All right. I'm done talking.
I just want good pizza, man. I just want some good pizza.
And we'll see you next time, fuckos.